So what I've planned on doing today were techniques and tools teaching live with students. And I put the live with students in quotes on purpose because we can't be face-to-face with the students. So we need to make it as connected as possible with our live sessions. The ones that I've chosen to do today are Nearpod, and I'm going to introduce VoiceThread a little bit. So have you ever used Nearpod or VoiceThread?
I have not, no.
Oh, awesome, good. Then this will be
good, yeah.
So the link that I shared with you in the chat, that is the website that takes you directly to the teaching and tools, teaching live with students. And there's more tools on there than what I'm going to go over today. The fun thing about Nearpod is it integrates with Flipgrid. So if you're a Flipgrid user, then you can utilize those within the interactive slides. So you'll see that the very first link that you can go to. So I'm going to the nearpod.com website, and it is Google integrated, whereas VoiceThread is not. And I love VoiceThread, but the reason I don't I'm not starting with VoiceThread is because it'll add to possibly the frustration of parents saying, my kid has 8 logins, because you have to have a separate login for VoiceThread and it's not integrated with Google. So that kind of makes it problematic. So I'm going to go to, and you most definitely can escape my window and then go to nearpod.com and follow along with me. But I'm going to log in. And when I go to log in, it's going to ask me if I want to create one, but I'm just going to go to log in with Google. And I'm going to select the Google account that's associated with my Nearpod. I'm trying to make this, I apologize. I don't want to not look at the camera in case
no, it's okay. It's fine.
So this is Nearpod, and there's 3 things that you can do, and it'll integrate with other stuff as well. So I'm going to show you the lesson creation first, and you can create lessons 2 ways. You can create a lesson within Google Slides. You can create a lesson in Nearpod, and some of those activities also integrate within the Microsoft and other platforms. So you'll be able to see those options as we go. And then it also has a library of resources that I'm not a certain content area, but I've always been able to find something, at least 1 or 2 things in the content area for free, but they do also have paid options as well. So the first thing that, to help you understand Nearpod, like I said, Nearpod can be just created from things that Nearpod has for you, and you'll understand that better when I do that. But you can also create a PowerPoint or create a Google slide and then bring that in and add interactivity to it. And so what I did first was I clicked on lesson in Google Slides. Now it opens in the same window, but it's going to take me to my Google Slides since it knew that I was, my Sanders@NWOET.org. It knew my Google account.
Okay.
Now what it does is it opens a brand new slide, and it tells me how I'm supposed to start this and install it. So when you go to Google Slides, they first want you to install the Nearpod app. Now, when I launch this, okay, so you can still see my screen, right?
Yes, I can.
So when you go to add-ons in any of the Google products, and are you a Google user?
Yes, yes.
Good. And I know you said Google Classroom several times, so I'm like, but I can't assume that you're using all the other products. But you can do the Get add-ons and look for the Nearpod one and install it. But the first time that you go to Nearpod and say, I want to do a Nearpod lesson, it will tell you you need to go to add-ons you need to install the Nearpod Google Slides app. And then after you install that on your account, it will always be there for you. Now, the struggle that I had last night when installing it on a different account just to see if it caused issues or problems, or it kept saying help here instead of open Nearpod. Well, I had to close the window and reopen it, like refresh it to make that open Nearpod work for me. Okay, so here's my first slide, the Exploring Revenge and Ambition, and this is a Google slide presentation, my introduction to the book. I've already made this Google slide a long time ago, so I am just adding the features from the add-on Nearpod, open Nearpod. And then it put this lovely little pane on the right-hand side. So I'm happy that I have the students thinking about revenge and ambition. And now I want them to specifically, by themselves, now that they collaborated with their friends, I want them to draw a conversation or a vision of what ambition and revenge would look like. Well, and I thought, wouldn't it be neat to add a image from my desktop, or something that I had in my Google Drive. Okay, so I'm going to go to my Google Drive, and you saw from that last screen that it also goes to Dropbox. If you're a Dropbox user, it also goes to Microsoft. But I'm a Google user, so I'm going to take it to my Google, and I want it to go to this cartoon strip. And so in here in my instructions, I'm going to tell the students to draw what ambition looks like in the top 2 rows and what revenge looks like in the bottom 2. Okay. And I can add a timer. I really don't want to put that kind of pressure on them. If I'm doing it teacher paced, I can push them forward. As a teacher pace, it'll say 2 more people need to respond, 1 more person needs to respond. And I can put a background image. If I'm doing math here, I could put a grid paper that I found. I can add different components to this, and that was with the multimedia as well. So I'm going to hit save, and it's going to add it as another new slide right underneath my collaborate one. Okay, so this was a virtual tour. I just used the field trip there, and I chose a picture. Oops, I don't want to do that again. And this one was the collaborate right there. And then this one is the draw it. I love the draw it because it allows you to add images or not have images, and then the students can use it as a whiteboard to answer whatever question you want them to answer. So after they draw about what they think ambition and revenge is, excuse me, I give them the definitions of revenge and ambition. And after they do that, I want to add. And so I'm just kind of thinking through, this is a great presentation that I already have for them. Now I'm going to add some interactivity to it. So after they learn about what revenge and ambition is, I want them to go to a website, which is all the way down here, web content. And I just hit that. And I have a URL already picked out. And I'm not even sure if this was my thought process, but since I'm teaching, it might not be as coherent as I wanted it to be. I tried. But it's going to give them this web link for them to explore. And maybe the slide before, I can say, now go to the link and write down 3 things about revenge and 2 things about ambition, or find a quote that is perfect to help you understand revenge and ambition a little bit more. It'll take a minute for that to load. But I had it placed right after the revenge and ambition. if I want to, just like Google Slides, I can move these around wherever I want. And they also obey the right click function of deleting or moving or duplicating. So I could do those things as well. So the next thing, and all of these you can explore on your own as well, but I wanted to show you the ones that most generally are easy to plug into your presentation, and also engage the students in different kind of activities for them. I have a major conflict from the book that I have quoted or I've put in here. And after they have the major conflict in there, I want them to go to a Flipgrid. Now, have you ever used Flipgrid?
I have not. However, I have attended two training sessions. So it's something that I'm going to work on over the summer and integrate next year.
Nice. Yeah. And it's always been a wonderful tool, and even the additions that they've made are amazing. So I created a brand new grid called Revenge and Ambition. And then I'm going to have all these different topics about revenge and ambition in here for the novel Count of Monte Cristo. And basically all I've done is put the words in here, the title, the quote itself, and then the directions that I want the students to explore. I've gone through the settings. I'm not going to moderate the video because I'm just going to put it out there. But, you know, I have classroom management policies that tell the students if you inappropriately post on using a school device or technology. But then here's my recorded video that I have for the students. And, you know, I didn't put anything else in here, but I can put attachments. I can put the kind of videos that the students and how the kids can react to the videos. Can they like it? Can they reply to other students? Can they use the sticky notes? The sticky notes, just for Flipgrid, and this is also a separate tool that you can just use by itself to teach live with your students. But sticky notes help if you want the students to record something specific. Because it will give them a place to paste a script, and then it's up on the screen, and while they're recording the video back to you, they can read it from the sticky note and still stare at the camera. So they don't have to go leave the screen and go to another window to read from a Google Doc or whatever you have them do from a website, one of those options. But I haven't changed any of these things, but you know, first time you're using it, and you're just go through each section and decide what you want the preferences to be for the students and the allowable permissions for the students. And when you make these, let me go back to my grids. There's two URLs that Nearpod wants. Okay, so it's Revenge and Ambition. Nearpod wants the teacher URL, which is up in my browser.
Okay.
But you can also share the topic grid, and it also wants the student. So you only need two things. So this is the student link. And so what I've done is I've copied and pasted those in another document. And now I'm going to go back to my Nearpod, and I want to insert a Flipgrid. So when I go into the Flipgrid, it just says, hey, what's your teacher one and what's your student one? So here's my teacher one, and here's my student one. Now, when I set up the very first step of Flipgrid, it asks you how you want students to access it. It'll say by domain, and I think based on you being a teacher in a school domain with Google, you probably just want to do school Google domain. All you would have to do is put whatever the last portion of your email is, at, and whatever that is. And then any of the students who have these links can watch and respond to your Flipgrid. They don't have to have anything else. It's that simple for them to get into Flipgrid. So if I post this one, so I'm going to add this one, they're going to get to watch my Flipgrid, and then they'll be prompted to reply back only via video. The one thing that I've noticed with teachers using Flipgrid, you might want to have, give them the option of using an emoji like I did, or putting a stuffed animal in front of the screen, because a lot of the students don't want to have their face on the screen. And sometimes the parents request that as well. So basically I always tell them, put whatever you want in front of the screen, put an emoji in front of your face, and then you can reply back. But they would be required to use their Google account, and so you would know who they were based on the response.
Got it.
So that's the Flipgrid response. And after my Flipgrid response, let me see here. Oh, I put it in the wrong order. So yeah, before the symbols, I wanted to do an assessment piece, and there's several assessment pieces in here, as you can see. I can, the draw and the collaborate could very well be a way of summative assessment. You got fill in the blank, and I just love the fill in the blank, the way that it's used with Nearpod. All I have to do is paste the thing that I want to be filled in. I just paste the whole entire thing. So I'm going to paste that. And now if I want certain words for the students to be in their word bank, I just go over and highlight them. And now those words are going to be an activity for them to drag it into the area that it belongs. Okay. And so based on my connection to all the things that I'm trying to do here for the students, I might be putting too many activities in here for them.
No, I like it. I can see all of them. That's awesome. Yeah, this is good.
Yeah, and it just fits into whatever your lesson is, and you just kind of walk them through it. It's like you're teaching them live, but they're interacting or engaging with the activities in their pace. If you just send them the code, they can go through at the pace that they want. So yeah, I thought, well, I'll talk about the symbols of ambition, and I thought, what better way to do symbols than matching pairs. So I think it's down here, the pairs one. You got all these other ones that you could do too. This is like a kid's memory game. I thought that was a little corny for my topic, especially since this book is probably for 11th graders. I could put an open-ended question in there that they could answer. I must have missed it. Was pairs up at the top? There we go. Pairs. So all I have to do, and I can use pictures. Here's my directions, my instructions. So I'm going to paste those in there. And then my first pair, add a pair. I can do an image or I can do text. Well, I took the easy way out, and I'm just going to put the words. So paste, and elixir goes over here. And then I'm going to add another pair. So I'm just putting word options here. Come on. And so I'll have a couple pairs for them. I can add another pair. And there we go. I'd clean it up if I weren't going for time here, but and now I hit done. So basically it would give the students this option, and my OCD really wants me to add another pair, but I'm gonna not do that just for high reasons. But I'm gonna hit save here, and basically what it'll do is it'll mix them up for the students and allow them to put those pairs together. And I just realized that if I have elixir for 2 of them, if they put the wrong elixir with the wrong one. So I wouldn't have 2 elixirs in there. So you can see that I have elixir and elixir. It keeps switching back and forth to the beginning slide there. Oops, there we go. So I have the pairs in there. Now for quizzes, let me make sure that I'm still following my plan here. Yeah, so I could do an activity with this quote and have the students answer questions about the quote. So I could have them do any of these things: collaborate, draw, respond with a flip grid to this quote, open-ended question about this quote, take a poll, a quiz. The 2 quizzes that they have are quiz and time to climb, and it's a gamified option for taking a quiz or an assessment piece. So if I add time to climb, it'll give me my question, and I can put that in there. And just like Google Forms, you can add an image as reference with the question, and then choose your answer type. It could be image or text, but I'm going to do text. And I'm just gonna, in the climb one, it makes more sense to have more in it, obviously, more than one question. And so I would just add those in as there we go. And then I have to tell it which one is correct. And then I go on to the next one. So add another question, same thing as you're going through there. Whereas the quiz one, it allows you to do the same thing, but it's not going to gamify in a way. This almost reminds me of Kahoot or quizzes,
Yeah.
where it challenges the students to do differently in their timing and their expectation of how many they get right. So it kind of challenges them in this way to beat their colleagues or their peers. Yeah, and so I'm just gonna, whoops, X. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. I'm gonna add another answer to this one up here. And if you don't do something right, it'll tell you after you hit save, it'll tell you that, so I'm not gonna add this one. Let's see if it makes me. So I'm gonna go save. Yep, it's gonna make me do that one.
Okay, I see.
And I'm not gonna do that because we have more important things to do. So I'm gonna just delete that one. And then I'm gonna save. So I could have chosen the polling, the question, any of those things to assess my students. Just depends on what I wanna achieve from that. So the things I didn't go over, you couldn't add a video. When you click on that one, it allows you to go to your Google Drive, upload from your computer. You can even search YouTube. So you could interconnect that with some, maybe there is a video about revenge in Count of Monte Cristo on YouTube. So, and also all of these things that I already had in here, I can convert them to a draw it so the students can interact with what I already have. I don't have to create a brand new slide. I can convert what I have there to be an activity as well. So now that I'm done, I'm gonna go back to Nearpod, but I'm gonna do it the right way. I'm gonna hit save and go to Nearpod. And when it takes me back to Nearpod, this is the first vision that we saw, and I had hit lesson in Google Slides, but I don't have to anymore. Now that I've installed it, every time I go to my Google Slides, all I have to do is go to add-ons, Nearpod, and open it, and I can add more options to whatever I already have there. So now it's saving this one. And while it's saving that, I'm gonna show you the second one that's very similar, so it won't take as long, because when I hit lesson in Nearpod, it's going to create a brand new lesson, but I can just sit here and go, add a slide. And then it says, just like Google Slides, content, but it breaks it down into Nearpod 3D, all these built-in partners that have, like the BBC, have videos, have virtual backgrounds that you can look at as well. But here's where I can add something from Sway, a slideshow that I created. And the slideshow used to be not free. I think it is free now because of the situation that we're in. But you can add all this content to that slide. Or I can add a web URL like I did before.
Mhm.
Or I can add an activity, which are the same ones that I just showed you. Flipgrid, quiz, matching, memory, fill in the blank, all of those things. So you would do those, add a slide one at a time. But just before that, I could have uploaded a PDF. I could upload a PowerPoint. I can also go grab that thing from my Google Drive. I could go and find that Google slide and bring it in. Anything that can be uploaded via this interface will come up as a slide or a card that you can have the students look at. So just like I did in Google Slides, I could be placing a PDF or an image that I created, a Google Doc that I created, a Google slide that I created, and I could bring it in there and it would place it in my presentation as an image. So yeah, I can do all of that same things, but bring it in here and add portions to it within this place. Now, just because I have the Google Slide add-on and putting it in there, and I bring it in here, I still can edit it and add more stuff to it. So if I decided, oh, I wanted to change the wording in this question, or I wanted to add a poll instead of a climb, I could put that in there as well. Here's where you choose live lesson or student-paced lesson. And then almost every tool out in the world has the ... where you can do all of these commands for it. And I can drag it and move it somewhere. And then the other thing you can do is you can create a folder. Not seeing where that is right now, but I'll when I do find it, I think it's this one, create folder. And then I can organize these a little bit better than than I have them. But that plus sign is also for create lesson in Nearpod and lesson in Google Slides, so that those options are up there as well. Now, have you ever used Socrative?
No, I have not.
Socrative is a great assessment tool. Now, this is bigger and better and stronger. This is like PowerPoint and an assessment tool got together and had a baby. It's just
Wow.
Nearpod is, because you can present and you can quiz them. But Socrative had a feature that was called Quick Launch, and I'm guessing that's why Nearpod jumped on. But when you hit Quick Launch, I can throw a question or a timer, or I can have the students collaborate on the fly. So it's just like a check-in, a feedback. How did you do on the lesson today? What did you understand? What didn't you understand? So I can throw that out to the students, and the data that it collects will be put in a report based on that Quick Launch.
Oh, wow.
Same as these as well. So when I do a live lesson or a student-paced lesson, it'll generate a report per login, per student, and tell me how they did on that, so that I can go, oh, geez, they really didn't understand the symbolism in Count of Monte Cristo chapter 4. So now I can go back and I can reteach that, or I can give them more lessons on that. When I first hit this, that's what this is.
That's what it created. Okay.
Created a brand new one. But I just wanted to go from an old Google slide, which is what this is here. Okay. And then the last thing, and what I'll do is I will show you how to present it to your students, because you use Google Classroom. This will be perfect for you. It integrates very well with Google Classroom. But the third thing that you can do, and a lot of people say, why didn't you show us this at the beginning? Because I wanted I wanted you to see that how easy it is to create your own lesson. And also, I don't like people navigating my lessons or my student learning. So I like to create my stuff for myself. But you can go in here. I just select free. And now it's going to show me all the free ones. I can break it down by state standards. I can also search lessons based on free, and I can also narrow them down: English language arts, first grade, and it'll narrow it down to actually what I want. Full lessons. Let's see how many full lessons we have. Okay, good. Words that rhyme.
Wow.
So now I can click on this and add it to my library and then use it with my students. And so it kind of gives us a preview of what it would look like. So the kids would draw it here. They would show some of their rhyming options. Circle the rhyming words. This is another draw it. And this is what it looks like from the student's perspective. So I like that one. I'm going to add it to my library. And then I'm going to go show my library. Okay, so you can create in two different ways. And then I can also browse in Nearpod lesson library for the, find some things that have already been built by another teacher. Now, this is in here. I can edit it. If I want to take out a slide or add a slide, I can do that if I'd like. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a live lesson. And if you go to that nearpod.com, oh, here's the part I wanted to show you. I can email this to you, but it is a live session. I can put it on social media, have a link. I can add it to my Google Classroom. A lot of districts have been using Remind over this period of remote learning. So I could send it over that. And if I'm in Microsoft Teams, I could generate activity with my students through Microsoft Teams. But if you'll go to nearpod.com, and if you are logged in, log out, and then go to the student portion and then put in the join code so that you can see what it looks like from a student's perspective, and then you'll still be able to see the teacher perspective, because that's what I'll be. This also can be used on handheld devices, iPads, iPhones, Android. So if you have one-to-one with bring your own device, then it also works with those as well. Do you need the code anymore?
Nope, I'm good.
Perfect. Okay. Let's see. I can also, from the teacher perspective, and if you can't see my screen, that I'll just kind of tell you, I can go to student view so I can see what it looks like from the student's perspective. I can still add an activity while I'm in here if I feel like I've missed something, or if the students aren't getting something, since it's a live session. Let me see what I can see. Okay, so down here at the bottom, it shows that you're on. There's one person on, and I'm just going to move through it. Now, if I move you, can you move yourself at all? Can you move around the slides? Or
no, I cannot.
Okay, so I am controlling you. But keep in mind, if we're doing this from afar, then the students can't hear me. If we were doing a Zoom meeting, of course, or a Google Meet, they could hear me. But for the most part, I'm controlling this from afar. And now this is our first activity, and you can enter the VR and explore that Monte Cristo, Italy. But as soon as I'm ready for you to move on, I hit it and you're out of there.
I think that's great.
Yep. Would you like to approve student comments before they are posted? I'm going to say no. So if you can't see my screen still, it says, do you want to approve everything that the students do? And I'm just going to say no, because I don't think you're going to get too crazy on me here. But go ahead and you can type some things in there if you want. It almost looks like Padlet. If you've ever used Padlet, it's basically used to call Well-Wisher, and it's a bunch of students use a bunch of sticky notes to make comments about things. And I I also use that for like anticipatory set and getting kids thinking about what's going on. That is helpful. Let's see what happens here. Yeah. And so it'll put our things next to each other. Since I've said that the students can like, or can like, I didn't say anything about commenting. I don't think that's an option on their own. But you can keep putting posts or images and that kind of things.
Tanya, what happens if you find that they are posting inappropriate things? You can obviously go in and take those posts off, I'm assuming.
Correct, yes. And actually, in that case, I probably would put approve. Student collaboration, it's not going to be live collaboration for them, but if I'm doing this live while I'm sitting here, I send it out to the kids and I'm controlling it, click, 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 I can read it quick and then approve and then put it out there. If you're worried about students making inappropriate comments, then I probably would put the approve portion on. Same thing with Flipgrid, put on that you have to approve it before it goes out to everybody.
Okay.
I think that's best. And I can share this board out to other people, links, and send it through all of these means as well. I don't think I'm going to need to, because I'm just going to allow the kids to collaborate on that. So I feel like the kids are done. I can see that and I'm seeing everything that they're doing as they're producing this. I'll say, oh, just 3 out of 4 have done the drawing portion. I need to wait on them to complete that. I'm going to hit this. There we go. So now you can go ahead and do a drawing. I think I might have put the comic strip in the wrong place. I can't see what you can see. Let me go to the student view. As a teacher, I'm switching over to the student view. I hope that doesn't do anything to you.
I see at the top the comic strip, and then draw what ambition looks like. And then underneath I have like a blank slate.
And what I should have done is I should have put the comic strip as the background, not as part of the question.
I see. Okay.
I messed up on, yeah. So I'm going to switch back to teacher view. Yeah, so I should have put it as a background and I can edit that. But you can see all the writing tools that you can use down there. They're all kind of like the good old fashioned websites that we used to go to as kids, and paint and draw and highlight and shapes and text and whatnot. So, and now that I'm like, oh, I'm going to move on to the next one. The students can read that. Here's the website where it just allows them to go there. It doesn't take them outside of Nearpod. They just kind of can scroll through the information within that slide. And so I continue to go through. Just a reading slide, content slide. And then here's the Flipgrid portion of it. So then the students would be able to respond to the Flipgrid.
Cool.
And if I'm going too fast, just let me know.
No, it's okay.
And then here's the fill in the blank. And then after you drop them in there, then you can hit done. I can also go backwards if I want to allow students to redo the drawing or contribute to the drawing, allow them to do that. Okay. And this is the pairs. Match the correct terms that are symbolic of the characters to the story characters and main ideas. So, yeah, so that would be that activity. And it probably looks more like a, oh geez, like a match 'em, but
yeah.
School, what is it? Smart boards used to have an activity built in like that. Yeah, so then I think we finished with the climb, and you can do any of these activities as long as I allow you to hang on there for a little bit. And is it giving you an option to?
It says time to climb by Nearpod. That's
okay.
What I have.
I'm going to choose space, and then I'm going to hit continue. That's what it's asking me. And then now it's saying waiting for players. Zero
Okay,
connect.
so I choose my character. Waiting for players.
There we go. I wonder if it won't let you do it because you're by yourself.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. It shows you going up the hill on my side. I think it's better than Kahoot, if you ask me. Just
Oh, for
visually.
sure.
And so at the end, this one is, as soon as I see that the students have completed it and they're all at the top of the mountain or whatever, then down at the bottom of mine where it says 15 and 15, 15 slides, I can go back and have the students reattempt certain things. But as soon as I'm done, I'm going to go up to Nearpod. At the middle, the top middle of mine, if you can't see mine anymore, it's at the middle top of that, and there's a drop down, and I'm just going to hit end session. It says, are you sure this will end the session for any students logged in? I said yes, and automatically it will generate the reports for that student. So when I go to reports back at mine, I can see Exploring Revenge and Ambition. I can click on that and I can see the session that I attend. So like if I had 3 periods of English 10, then I would see 3 different sessions that I started. And so then I can go in and I can review over what happened there. But it'll keep a report for every time I've had the students, either student pace join a presentation or I have teacher pace them through a session. And I'll see the reports as soon as they go through and submit everything for that. But that's, in the nutshell, that's the 3 options for, and I'm going to go back to my library. So I'm going to go back to my home, almost like Google Classroom with the home aspect. The creating a Google slide from scratch in Google Slides, or pulling up a Google slide that I already created and adding through the add-ons, the Nearpod activities content, or write in lesson in Nearpod, just make the lesson right there. And then after I create that brand new lesson, it'll allow me to drag and drop presentations, PDFs, images that I can add to it, but I also can add the same components that I did when I was in Google Slides. So all of it is repetitious in that way. So any questions for me?
No, not at all. I think that was very informative. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Good. Yeah, I love this tool. It's the improvements, like I said, have been amazing to be able to integrate that whole presentation. And you could even record a video and put the video in here. So if I was already in my Google Classroom creating a topic and then putting a video to introduce what I'm doing with the students, and then putting adding a material where they go to a website, well, heck, I can just create a Nearpod that has an introduction slide, a video, polling, collaborate, and I can have all of it within one lesson posted in my Google Classroom rather than all these separate things, material, assignment. You still can do those things, but it's kind of nice that all of these are connected to each other and generated in a report and then graded automatically within Nearpod as well.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome. Now, we don't have time for VoiceThread, and I kind of felt like we weren't because Nearpod in itself is huge.
It's kind of a lot. Yeah, I feel like there's tons of different activities. I mean, you could spend all day just going through.
Right. And as I've been telling student or teachers ever since I've had this job for 18 years, I've been saying, just focus on one thing concentrate on that. I mean, there's a million tools out there that you can use, but focus on the one that you feel comfortable that you can do right at this time.